Hey everybody, Kyle Goth here from GoatFilmReviews.com and the Goat Film Reviews YouTube channel, and I have my first reaction to the new M. Night Shyamalan film, Trap. I've recently been catching up on Shyamalan films. Earlier in the year, of course, I watched Knock at the Cabin, finally. I was able to check out The Visit, Glass, so I've caught up on a lot of the M. Night Shyamalan films that I've been interested in checking out, so I was really excited, actually, to get a look at Trap, because it's such an interesting idea. We've seen movies set in these stadiums before, tension thrillers, those kind of things. But I like the idea that from the get-go of the trailer, we learn everything that we need to know about this trap that's been set for Josh Hartnett's character. I should say, the trap that's been set for the Butcher. And I don't think it's spoiling to say that in that trailer, they reveal that Josh Hartnett is the Butcher. We're meant to believe, that he's this nice, good-looking dad who's just, out with his kid for a concert. And then, within a few moments of the trailer, we get the idea that he is the killer that they are trapping in this building. So we are following him. He is our protagonist in the film, which I think is just a fascinating idea. And I think from minute one of spending time in the stadium set, I got a lot of Snake Eyes vibes, a lot of... what was the Jean-Claude Van Damme one? Was it Sudden Impact or something like that? I'm forgetting whatever his movie was. Jean-Claude Van Damme did one during, I think, a hockey game as well that kind of had that stadium kind of vibe to it. But specifically Snake Eyes and specifically a lot of the De Palma-isms. There's a lot of kind of broken focus in the shots where we're able to focus on something in the foreground really nicely and also the background. You can see that kind of fuzz line where it's created. I think it's an effective thing that has been done before by De Palma in a couple other films. But I could definitely see a lot of the Snake Eyes that's at play too. And that film has a lot of moments where the camera is sweeping, the camera is trying to show the grandeur of what's on display. And in even that film too, we are still kind of paired with Nicolas Cage, who is not inherently a good guy, even though he's not a straight-up villain. He's, but he is that mixed moral compass. And I think that's what we get with Hartnett as well, is, we get to see him from the pretty early on in the film kind of breaking. And I think Hartnett himself is selling the movie better than anything else that I could do. His performance is great. I love how he... At any one point, there's something just not quite right about him, but you can see that the charm is on display, and so he's able to sell the not quite right as right. And you can see those different variations of it. I love the moments where, for example, there's a sequence where he's, dodging through police officers with a cup of coffee in his hand, or SWAT members, and he's moving through, and as soon as he gets to the end, that face just contorts into emotionless, expressionless. I like his performance in the film. I was also surprised. M. Night Shyamalan's daughter plays the pop star. Lady Raven, I believe, is the character's name, and I'm missing the actress's name, his daughter, but she did the music for the film, which music was fine. Again, it's not really my kind of music, so I can't really rate how nice the music was. None of the songs in the film stood out. They're not ones that I would personally listen to, but at the same time, there's a lot of music I don't personally listen to. As far as performance, though, we actually get a little bit more time with her than expected throughout the film. And I think she does a pretty good job. Not a great job, but a good enough job. She's passable in the film. And there are some moments, I think, especially because she has such an expressive face, that her face does a lot of the acting for her. Now, granted, this is a movie where I feel like it's only as good as your ability to suspend disbelief. And what I mean by that is there's a lot of things in this movie that honestly were pretty easy to suspend. I felt like going into the film, the very idea that a SWAT team and the FBI would trap a serial killer in a gigantic location with a bunch of potential victims is ludicrous. Sure. But knowing that going into the film, it's kind of the same ability to go past belief in the escape room films. The escape room movies are so over-the-top, cheesy, goofy, ludicrous premises, but if you buy into that going into the movie, and that is the premise that we're playing with, then it works. And I think that's the case with Trap. I think the central premise works. There's other things in the movie that I just didn't buy. There's a sequence where Josh Hartnett goes into the men's room during this concert, and it's meant to be our moment to reveal who he is, who he really is, which happens really early in the film. And like I said, it's part of the plot. It's not really a spoiler or anything. But he goes into this location, in this men's room stall, and he opens up his phone and he looks at the camera that he's got someone in his basement. But like he has the like volume up. Like it's not up a large amount, but like you're in a stadium bathroom surrounded by dudes. And I know they're all taking a piss and they're making sounds and stuff. But he's watching this video and it's like those kinds of little things where it's like the attention to detail wasn't really there. And then there's some moments where the attention to detail is really well put together. But there are things like, I don't know, like a sequence where he gets into the back stalls, or not the back stalls, but like one of the employee areas, because he's trying to kind of plot his escape from this situation. He gets into, you know, the back room and he watches as the SWAT team is holding a conversation about like what they're doing, like kind of like it's almost like a coach trying to convince, you know, people, you know, like we got to get this guy because these dead people deserve it. And he stands there so long that I just was like, is someone going to turn around? Is someone going to be like, sir, can I help you? He's not really. There are times where his character is written to be really clever, and there are times when the writing doesn't serve him as a clever person. There's also certain things like I think the ending has not, I don't want to use the word twist because twist becomes a Shyamalan thing where everyone's looking for the twist. I don't think there's inherently a twist to the movie. There's a number of twists and turns. It's not a shocking twist. It's not a surprise twist. Not a reveal like that. But there's a number of ways in which the narrative juts back and forth between what we think is going to happen, what we don't think. And it does a pretty good job of doing that. Just not as much as expected, because after a while it becomes almost silly, the things that we're asked to push. And I think that's the case where just the envelope is being pushed a little too much. I didn't like the final reveal of the film. And it's not a reveal, like, again, not a twist thing. I'm just saying, like, the final few moments of the film gives us one last, like, you know, plot bump, you know, in the other direction. And I felt like, okay, that ending doesn't really serve a complete story. And it's hard for me to get into specifics without talking about the spoiler itself, so I won't. This is a first reaction. You guys should go in and see the film and enjoy it. But like that stretched my ability to go with it. And so I'm kind of torn because like there are things I liked about this movie and there's things I really didn't like about this movie. I think overall I'm giving it a very slight recommendation because I was tense throughout the narrative. Although I will say that the trailer gives away a lot of what happens in the first portion. And it would have been more beneficial had that not happened. But thank goodness the trailer doesn't give away anything that happens in Act 3, which is really where my tension kind of was focused near the end of the film. So overall, I mildly liked Trap. It's not a movie that I'm going to be putting on my top 10 of the year list or anything like that, but I was entertained. I did enjoy more of it than I expected to, and I think it has a really great lead performance from Josh Hartnett, who is somebody that I've desperately missed, especially in the genre films. You know, he got a lot of his start in genre films with things like The Faculty and Halloween H2O, and you know, I just recently watched him in Virgin Suicides again, which isn't inherently genre, but it's got a few like genre leanings to it. I just think we need more of Josh Hartnett in this world, and I think he does a solid performance in the film. It's really a him story because everything works based on his ability to carry it. He's alone for a lot of the movie. There's just some of Shyamalan's writing choices that I felt like we're like so far removed from the clever character motivations of like The Sixth Sense or Unbreakable. And it's just, I'm wondering why he's stretching those kinds of things. And I also feel like the Butcher himself has such a slim motivation. I wish we could have worked in a little bit more about him as a character, you know, because we're following this dad, and we know that he's the Butcher. We reveal that he is the Butcher early on, but I feel like we don't know the Butcher. Does that make sense? It's almost like we know Clark Kent, but we don't know Superman. You know, we don't know the person behind the curtain, and I still don't think at the end of the film that we really know the Butcher. And so I feel like it would have been nice if we had some, I don't know, radio broadcast or information like that. There's a lot of cell phone use in the film. Why isn't there more stuff just about the Butcher happening? Because I feel like we're missing out on that. But overall, this to say, I liked the movie. I didn't love the movie, but I do think it was a fun time at the movies. My audience enjoyed themselves. We were all very tense, especially in that back half. You could tell a lot of them had seen the trailer because it was near the back half that I started hearing people getting excited again. But yeah. Let me know your thoughts on Trap down below in the comment section, and leave me your ranking of your favorite Shyamalan films. And would you put Trap in the upper echelon? Let me know down below. I'd love to hear about your thoughts about that. Thank you so much for joining me for another first reaction to another 2024 movie and another horror movie. That I'm Kyle Goethe, and you can find all my film reviews over at goatfilmreviews.com. You can find Goat Film Reviews on Facebook. You can follow me at Almighty Goatman on Twitter, Instagram, Letterboxd, and Threads. And you can find my show, Kyle and Nick on Film, that I co-host with Nick Palatichuk from the St. Paul Filmcast. We have new episodes of that show every single week. Thank you for joining me. There's a link down below for the Minnesota Film Critics Alliance. We'll see you over there.